Okay, hello everyone. This is Daryl Goodman and Bruce Armstrong. We're with the SCTC group, which is Senior Computer Tech Center. I know that just rolls off the tongue, but that's who we decided years ago to name ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're going to be covering a tech topic today, and I'll let Bruce introduce what that's all about.
Yes, greetings. We want to discuss the use of Windows wonderful File Explorer and the fact that many people that we encounter in our dealing with seniors every day is that sometimes a lot of people get confused by that. And we just want to run over quickly what it is and what it isn't. So,
well, interestingly, right before this call, I asked Bruce for some help because I was looking at my Windows Explorer and I said, this looks different than some of the people I've helped. Why is that? So anyway, even us more experienced people can sometimes get lost.
yeah. Well, first, I'm going to give you a little summary of what we're going to talk about here. I'm going to share my screen and show a little PowerPoint that we'll run through it fairly quickly and see if I can do this myself. And get into the right place. And there we are. And there's Daryl and me up in the corner. And files and folders in Windows File Explorer. A nice little picture of a Pendaflex file, if anybody knows that name. I used those a lot in work when I was a working person. And what we're going to cover is what is Windows File Explorer, what it does and doesn't do, and choosing your view in Explorer. That's the thing that Daryl asked me about just a minute ago. Navigating the directories, folders, files, whatever you want to call them, how to get through that thing, and creating new folders and subfolders, moving, copying, and deleting folders or files. You can do all of that stuff. Managing files on other devices. It'll have any of your other devices that are connected to your computer or that you have electronically connected to your computer, like OneDrive or Dropbox or external drives, DVD, CD drives, whatever. And then moving files to and from other cloud services like Google Drive, Dropbox, and iCloud. It's kind of an all in one place where you can do all of that stuff. And File Explorer appears in your taskbar. That's a thing on the bottom of a Windows computer across the bottom of the screen. It looks like this. It looks like a little manila folder sitting in a bookend or something like that. And clicking on that will, just one time, or selecting it, will open the file. I mean, some people have a point your finger at it rather than clicking, right, to open the File Explorer app. And I found this little thing, why are they called files? And so way back when, there were actually files that looked like this, that people managed data. And so I like to call them folders, and because the little picture always looks like a folder to me, and I use folders, and I have the little green Pendaflex big folders that I put multiple folders in for different years of tax returns or something like that. And we've all used these things, and it helps us find stuff when we want it. And that's all this thing is that you can go as deep and as wide as you want with folders and directories. But my caution is it is a personal decision that suits your needs, but you need to balance between the number of main folders and the subfolders, because if you get down to 5, 6, 7, 8 deep in your subfolders, you can really lose some stuff. And if you get too many directories or folders across the gamut, you lose touch with things. And folders, this is kind of a computer diagram, I guess. It's a hierarchy. And that's kind of how you might structure something, is you got a main folder, and then it's got 3 folders underneath it that relate to that main folder maybe. And then one of those has 1 under it, and the other one has 2 with another subfolder. That might be a good way to think about it when you're trying to decide how you want to structure your stuff. Now, the view, and this is just a static view of what mine looked like at some time yesterday. Just to look at it, you've got some toolbar across the top, and we'll get to it and we'll actually do some of these things in a minute. You've got a list over here on the left, normally in a normal view, of the main areas that you can find things. My particular thing is I have a quick access, an iCloud drive, OneDrive, stuff on this PC. I have a USB drive connected to my computer, and then we have network. And depending upon which one you're in, like if I'm in this PC, you're going to get what subdirectories are in there. So that's kind of a picture of what it looks like, and we'll give you some things. So what we're going to do is a screen share to show you an overview of the information, personal preferences, views, what's on your computer, available to your computer via the internet or external devices, things like the desktop, the documents, pictures, videos, downloads. Those are things that Windows creates that you don't have any choice about, that they're going to do the first time you put it together, and there'll be nothing in them. And you have to decide how you want to put stuff in there. And then talk about folders and subfolders. Now, before we head on to the demo, this is some email information, info@friendslongmont.org. You can email that and get information if you want more. My email is barmstrong@friendslongmont.org, and Daryl's is dgoodman@friendslongmont.org. So that'll move us on to there. And now let me stop the share and go back and share the screen of my if I can get there, screen share that, and go to, I'm going to click on the folder at the bottom, and it should come up. And here's what you can see is right now, my folder or my Explorer has quick access, which I find irritating. I don't know how you feel about that, Daryl.
Now, I tend to try to discourage people away from there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's designed as a tool to help gain, like it says, quick access, but I prefer the views that you'll discuss below where that is.
Yeah, quick access is basically most used by me in finding stuff that I've recently worked on. That you can actually, if you don't know where you put it, it's usually in quick access. You know, it'll tell you, you know, that these are stuff that I've looked at recently, and here are folders that I looked at recently. iCloud Drive, I don't use it. I've got a free iCloud, but I don't use it very often. OneDrive, I do not have set up to use, but it's another one that Microsoft offers that offers you both cloud service. Under this PC,
I'd like to add one caution on
Sure.
the OneDrive. On OneDrive, that's Microsoft's cloud storage. And when we set up new PCs, or you set up a new PC, you have to be very careful how you answer some setup questions, or your files will automatically be saved in OneDrive versus this PC.
That's
so
correct.
That's something we can help you with if and when you buy a new PC.
Right. Now, if you get into this PC, that's stuff that's right here on this drive. And, you know, as you notice, when I went from one to another, here I've got a list version. When I go to this PC, I have something different. I have icons up here. And you've always got the capability of changing how you view things. And I don't see, oh, here it is up here, view. If I wanted to change this, I've got several choices. I can have extra large icons if I prefer them, small icons, tiles, which is what I had there, large icons, a list, content, medium icons, and details. And I actually prefer the details because I like to know the size of files and that sort of things. And it's just your preference, and you can change it to your preference. But under this PC, they automatically give me 3D objects, desktop, which is all of the files that if you were to look at your desktop, these are what's up there. Documents are basically, that's the catch-all for everything. You can put it into documents. You can see I've got many, many, many subfolders in documents. Downloads, anytime you go to a website and it says download this thing, and it comes down in the lower left-hand corner of your screen saying this is downloading, where did it go? Well, it's almost always in downloads. And I typically will take the things that I leave in downloads are setups for apps that I loaded onto my machine. And I will take most of the other things and move them to the appropriate documents or music or pictures or videos files. So I think it's a pretty good arrangement between documents, downloads, music, pictures, and videos of where you can put the things that you put on your computer. Now, down below, you're going to have the more nerdy kind of things of the actual disk drives and how they're labeled. And some people may have C and D on their machine. Some may have C, D, and E on their machine. Some may have just C like I do. And then I've got a USB drive plugged in for backup purposes. So anything you have plugged into your computer, like a USB function, external drive or anything, is going to appear here. So you've got basically the whole structure of everything, and the little arrows, right arrows on every one of these things. If I go to documents and I click on that arrow, it will expand it just as it did on the right to all the different subfolders. So you can use those little arrows on the left to do that. As I said, you've got all of these different views that you can do things. Whoops, I got out of the, how did I get out of that? Click in the wrong place. Well, I was going to move my toolbar from my Zoom thing, and it doesn't like me doing.
Too quick on the click.
Yep. You can also add columns if you wanted to. Look on the down arrow, you can add the date created authors. You can add whatever you want onto if you've got a detailed view or whatever. And just change things as you like. What's your comment there, Daryl?
No, I think it's very flexible. And with flexibility comes a bit of complexity. So just settle on kind of what works best for you, I think, is my advice.
Right. I've gotten frustrated recently in that my documents folder has far too many first level subfolders. As you can see, I only go through the numbers down to D on the whole page. So I've got a lot of folders in here. And I probably ought to rethink things and say, okay, I want family documents or something, and then put, my tax things or our son's things or resumes for relatives and that sort of thing into one main folder. So I don't have to scroll down. But that's something that you kind of got to watch out for when you start doing things. And especially if you're using photos or you get into pictures, that's a troublesome one, because they're going to give you under pictures something called camera roll and saved pictures. And you got to know what you got in each one. So it's a very interesting sort of a thing. And the same goes for videos. If you happen to save videos, those are memory hogs for your computer, but they are great things to have. Music, I do a lot of music things, and so I have a lot of music folders. So it's a management system that if you're not an organized person, it helps you a little bit, but you just don't want to get to the point where you're losing stuff by not knowing where you put it. So that's kind of a summary of the Windows File Explorer. And it
One
has
tip.
many, go ahead.
I'm sorry. One tip I would add is a lot of you, I know when you open up your computer, you have a lot of files stored directly on your desktop. And we generally recommend doing that and putting them actually in that structure Bruce has been talking about. So if it's a document, I think it's best to move that to the documents folder rather than storing it on your desktop.
Yes, I actually had a client a few years ago that had probably 50 pages of desktop. I mean, you scrolled to the right and the person could never find anything.
It actually affects the boot up time of your PC. So that's one of the benefits of putting a little more thought into how you organize it.
Right. And this is just an aside. It's kind of an interesting one that I've noticed in managing pictures on your computer, that if you copy and a file, you've got a picture out there of the family or something, and you want to put it into an album, so to speak, and make all of your family pictures, say from a family reunion, in one directory. Well, you actually, when you're using Windows, you actually move the file. But if you start making a copy of the file and putting the copy in there, then you end up with two physical copies of the same file. And I would just recommend that anyone that's in that situation where they're doing a lot of compilation of family photos or trips or whatever the case may be, that you investigate things like Google Photos, where it keeps one copy of your file. You can make separate copies, but typically you make one copy. And if you make an album and put some photos into that file, it doesn't actually make another copy of the file. So you're never actually making storage space for another picture. So it's just another way of doing things. But if you're on the computer, you typically, if you're going to put it into a different folder, you got to copy it, move it there, or make a copy of it or something, and you can end up with multiple copies of things.
So our intent is that you'll be watching this video from YouTube. So on our new YouTube channel that we're working on. So at the end of the video, you would have a chance to make comments and suggestions for future video topics. Maybe you want to go into more depth on some of the things we touched on, like copying, moving, that sort of thing. But we just wanted to give you an overview of the File Explorer itself today.
And also, just to add to Daryl, it's we have a really simple but powerful website of our SCTC group, and we keep it up to date all the time with things that are of interest. And there are a lot of things on there that are YouTube videos of other people that have done a whole lot better job than we do. We're not the car guys, click and clack, you know.
We could become, the tech guys or something.
The nerd group,
the nerd guys,
the nerd twins or something, whatever. But our website is a really good place, and I can't remember the shortened URL, which is bit.ly, bit.ly / SCTC home.
That's on that beginning slide when they can check the beginning of the video.
Yep. And we have a lot of good stuff out there, and we're trying not to repeat what other people do better than we do. So we're just finding things that have come up many, many times in our years working with people and helping them with computers, and trying to put it out there so that, okay, if we don't have time to do a class on it again, we can say, go look at this video. So.
Okay, Bruce, I think that's a wrap for today.
Okay, good. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Daryl.
Okay.